When Goggins lived with me, his rule is we had to do something every day that sucked. That was his rule.
He's the master at that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
What did he make you do?
Every day sucked. The first thing we did was he came and he wanted to see how many pull-ups I could do so he could map out the month. He lived with me for a month. And I went to the pull-up bar and I got like maybe 8 pull-ups, which is an exaggeration. I probably got like 4 pull-ups. You know? A lot of people are listening, so I'll say 8. And then he said, all right, wait 30 seconds, go and do it again. And I went up on the pull-up bar and I did maybe like 3 or 4. He said, all right, wait 30 seconds, I want you to do it again. And I got up on the pull-up bar and I did maybe like 1 kipping, getting my damn chin over the bar barely. And I dropped down, I was all jacked up. And I said, all right, well, what's next? He said, well, what's next is we're not leaving here until you do 100 more. We're not leaving the gym until you do 100 more.
That day?
Now, like right now.
Right now.
I did like probably 7 or 10 and I was like, man, Goggins, that's impossible. And he said, I already know what your biggest problem is. And he's like, the limitations you're putting on yourself are self-imposed. Get the back on the bar. And, I got up on the bar and over the course of an hour or 2, I did them. And that started our journey of like, you're about to go in a place where you've never been, motherfucker. And I remember one day I was sitting on the couch and in Connecticut where I was living at the time, and on the ticker on the TV, the emergency broadcast system came up. Stay inside. Freezing rain. Icy conditions. High winds. Stay inside. It was like beeping. Stay inside. And Goggins was like, this is amazing, man. Let's go for a run. And I'm like, they're telling us the exact opposite, man. They're broadcasting to the whole community to stay inside.
Right.
So we go for a 10-mile run in the blizzard and we come home, and I lived on a lake and kids are playing hockey on the lake. So we go down and he takes his hand and he moves all the snow off the ice. He gets a boulder and he breaks the ice, a little hole in the ice with the boulder, and then he takes his hand and he makes the hole a little bit bigger, and then he jumps in, and then he points at me and he takes his finger and he signals for me to jump in. I'm not going in the fucking freezing cold water because my mother told me as a kid in Long Island, don't go anywhere near the frozen water. If you fall in, you have like a minute,
Right.
He's bathing in it. Of course, I go in and he looks at me. He's like, man, you got about 2 to 4 minutes. You're going to get hypothermia. We just went on a run. We got to get you out of the lake. And I go to get out. He goes, you can't get out. He goes, if your skin touches the ice, it's going to stick to the ice like the kid in Christmas Story, his tongue that sticks to the pole, So he puts my shoes back on my hands and picks my ass up and puts my sock. I put my socks on or whatever, and I bear crawl out of the ice and I run up and I see my wife looking out the window as I'm running into the house, and we come in and she says to Goggins, like, what's the medical benefit of jumping in a frozen lake? And he said to her, there's no medical benefit. She's like, this is what your husband signed up for. He's like, I want to see how far he's willing to go to get to his goals. And I was like, this is going to be some 30 days, man.
Wow, what was the toughest thing he made you do?
It was just the consistency of it. She went everywhere I went. He shadowed me for 30 days. He went to every business meeting. We flew together. He lived, with my wife and I.
Did you think, like, what the did I sign up for?
Yes, I did. Like, he's coming into our house. My wife owns Spanx. I mean, like, the whole dynamic of this was crazy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's a maniac. When he did the podcast, I got here, and when I got here, he was already with his shirt off doing chin-ups. I was like, I walked into the back where the gym is. Look at this motherfucker.
Yeah, I was at the race. I saw him at the race where he broke all the bones in his feet, I participated in that race. It's the first time I saw him. That's how I met him,
He broke all the bones in his feet?
So it was a 24-hour race, and the format of the race is, you run a mile, I run a mile. Whatever team runs the most amount of miles wins the race. He had no teammates.
That sounds
I'm like where's the rest of the team? I flew out to meet Goggins after the race, and asked him to come live with me, and he said yes.
Now, why did he say yes? I mean, isn't he busy? Did you offer him money? Like, how did this?
No, he was he was still in the military at the time. I remember asking him to come, and I remember him saying to me, if you're crazy enough to ask a guy like me to come live with you, crazy enough to come. 3 days later, he shows up with 1 bag. One day, he was like, we're going to run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I was like, I got to work. He's like, no, you don't.
Wow.
So I would wake up at midnight. We started at midnight. We would run, let's say it took us 40 minutes. And then 4 a.m. we'd go again. 4 miles. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, 48 hours.
Jesus Christ.
We went in the sauna. Actually, this was the steam. And he's like, we're going to stay in here for 30 minutes, 8 ounces of water. Okay. We jack it up. It's f***ing cooking in there. I walk in. I'm like, holy it's so hot in here. He sits down. He's whistling Dixie. 8 minutes in, and my water's gone. 19 minutes in, I'm like, Goggins, I got to get out. He's like, you can't get out. I'm going to pass out. I got to get out. I didn't even wait for him to say no again because I'm about to pass out. I open up the door. All the smoke from the steam room goes flying out of the door. I sit right in the chair. He comes storming out, and he looks at me. He's like, oh, you don't look good. I go, no, I'm gonna pass out. He goes, we got to abort the mission. Like, we're not doing the rest of the 30 minutes. Like, I gotta pass. That was the only pass I got.
Because you almost died in the sauna or the steam room. Now, he would just make these up, like come up with these ideas.
It was just constant, man. Like, I mean, we would go to work, sitting at work, and I'd have like a 30-minute break, and he'd be like, burpee test. Like, what? I'm at work. He'd be like, I want to see how many burpees you can do in 10 minutes. I'd be like, burpee test? And I would like, in the middle of work, I would like get down, take off my, you know, whatever I was wearing. I would get like my boxers or whatever, like just to get, and I would do as many burpees as I could in 10 minutes and be soaking wet, and I'd walk into my next meeting. And everybody knew that was part of the thing.
So you explained to all these people that
Wow. Closed every deal. I closed every deal, man.
Because you're so amped up.
And people were fascinated. I'd walk in, and they'd be like, at the end of the meeting, I'm like, do you want to talk? He's like, whatever the fuck you guys are in, we're in. We're in.
How did he end the 30 days?
He left me a note on a Post-it. Thanks.
That's it?
That's it.